2019 Mountain Dew GSL Super Tournament. Season 1.
Welcome back, everybody. We've had one Terran out of the two in the round of 16 survive onto the round of 8.
Yeah, GuMiho bringing Dark to the very last game there. Great series. Both series so far today, just fantastic. Now we're going to go into a series that looks a little bit one-sided on paper. It's Hurricane, a respected pro that has never truly delivered when it mattered.
Yes.
Going up against Rogue, a world champion, a champion of many things, including a super tournament.
The first half of our day was, at least on paper, looking pretty even. The second half is looking pretty mismatched, with all due respect to our underdogs.
Well, you know, if I look at the whole round, I'm like, I really can't see Hurricane winning this. The thing is, I always hear from people, he's one of those players where everyone's like, he's so good. It's kind of similar to Deer, but at least Deer sometimes really puts out and gets like top 8s and stuff quite often, whereas Hurricane is like he's just in the GSL. That's all you can really say about him. It's like, yeah, he qualifies for the GSL. That's great.
He's a Code S player.
Yeah.
Okay, Cyber Forest is where it's going to start.
Yes.
Now, how on earth is Hurricane going to take out someone like Rogue? Rogue has, in periods of time, been the most robust and complex Zerg we've ever seen.
Indeed. He is a fantastic late-game Zerg player. You know, I think we're going to see very sharp timing attacks from Hurricane. It's hard to imagine him going into a late game against Rogue. That's just not something you want to do.
Okay. Just like Super Tournament has always been, it's a best of 5. The loser is just out. No group stages here in the Super Tournament. No losers bracket. Give me round of 8 or die. Sick, I still got
die. Cases.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Hurricane. Generic Green Wings. Rogue.
Number of Rogue fans in the audience giving him a big cheer there. I think a lot of people that were following Rogue, especially when he was the most dominant player there was, are kind of hoping to see him once again reclaim that. I mean, he was so good and so unstoppable, and then both Cero and Maru, and a little bit Stats as well, kind of stepped into the limelight, especially when you have 3 players from 3 different races like that. It's tough, especially with Cero being the most dominant player outside of Korea and the world champion. Just murdering everywhere with the same race that Rogue has. I feel like Rogue is hungry to try to reassert himself, to reclaim some of that glory.
Cero passed him, but not by that much. Like, they had, if I'm not mistaken, Cero 3-1 to Rogue at BlizzCon, right?
Yes.
And that was a pretty reasonable series. The European scene plays a lot more late-game ZVZ than Rogue gets to because all the Koreans are very hyper-aggressive in the matchup, except for Rogue. So Cero kind of showed his chops in that late game and was able to knock him out. Who else knocked Rogue out? Well, it was like Maru, basically, right?
Yeah.
It's situations where like literally the only players on a similar level to Rogue are knocking him out of tournaments in close matches. Like I believe it was Season 1 last year where Maru knocked out Rogue in the round of 8, and it was so close, but you know, Maru was like bringing out stuff that seemed unstoppable at the time, you know, and it was just like, oh my God, how do you stop this? And he wasn't able to, obviously. So, you know, I still look at Rogue as one of these guys. There's like maybe 5 guys where I'm like, okay, those are the ones, right? It's like Cero, Maru, you know, Stats, Rogue. Then I think there's a couple names right below that, like Innovation and you know, Zest, and a couple others where it's like, okay, you know, here's the top 4 and here's the next 4. So I'm gonna make one of those terrible Justin Wong tier list of the pro gamers.
Man, I just can't imagine one game, let alone 3, where Hurricane beats Rogue in frankly any kind of game. I can't see a game where Hurricane necessarily even stops Rogue if Rogue does an all-in cheese build, you know? Not even trying to be mean here. It's just like, I mean, how? How?
You know, again, he's kind of one of these guys that's really good in practice, and everyone really respects him, thinks he's quite a strong player. He's not able to put out when it matters, whereas Rogue is completely the opposite. He absolutely puts out when it matters. And yes, he hasn't won a GSL yet, but the tournaments he won, and to get, like, he had to win IEM Shanghai and Super Tournament, and those went to like Game 7s against Hero. You know, one of the most clutch players ever. To make it to that BlizzCon that he ended up winning. Just, yeah, it's hard to imagine, but there are some builds that you can do in PvZ that, you know, can really catch your opponent off guard. There's a lot of mind games inherent in it. It looks like this game we're going to see an Archon drop following up. This makes me nervous for Hurricane.
Why? Go expand on that.
Okay, so he opens Phoenix to push away Overlords, gets an Oracle. He'll get 2 drone kills with it, back away and take a 3rd base with this Oracle guarding it, and his Archon drop will start. Okay? There's nothing more standard than this.
Yeah, this is... It's not bad. It's actually pretty strong if you're trying to learn. Nice little snipe
I was
there.
wrong. 3 kills.
But I'll tell you what, man. I mean, imagine how many times Rogue has played against this. But, you know, in some ways, I guess this can be a bit of a feeler build, right? You're coming out here, you're going to see, okay, what does this guy have coming? How is he going to handle it? And I guess also just sort of test for Hurricane here. Okay, what can I get away with against this guy? Is it going to look like a normal game when I do a build that's pretty strong, pretty standard? And if it doesn't go well, maybe he tries to do something cheesy in game 2 or 3.
I didn't count the exact gates while this was going down. This might actually be Zest's version with the Zealots added into the Archon drop. Not 100% sure on that.
It's 1 War Prism, right? Or
yeah,
is it
it's
2?
1 Prism.
Okay.
But he's getting charged reasonably quick. I wasn't paying enough attention to the gates, but regardless, again, yeah, no, it's just very. This is the thing is. This is probably why everyone thinks that he's really good, is because he's executing the build well, right? He's doing a good job.
Yeah. Nice cover there with the Oracle, driving away those Lings.
It's just, this would be literally exactly the thing that Rogue has played the most against in the last 2 years.
This is the problem when you have somebody who's of this caliber, is when you see, it's like if you watch someone play Magnus Carlsen, and they're a good chess player, but you're like, probably they won't win, and then they go for the pawn, like e4.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know why, but this I can't imagine you winning with the most common chess opening against Magnus Carlsen. But
yeah, you got to mix it up a little bit. It's like, if you give it, the more standard you make it for Rogue, the more likely it is he gets later into the game where he becomes stronger and stronger.
Yeah, and Rogue, along with Stats and Serral, probably have the most sophisticated late game on the planet. So it's kind of hard to imagine if a game is normal, which tends to, with a good player, they kind of deflect everything, especially harass builds like this from Hurricane. Yeah, they get in the late game, and then they're usually better. But let's see. I mean, Hurricane is a renowned practice partner for some of the best players in the world, so maybe he's got, you know, maybe we're really underestimating him.
He's doing a good job. That's the thing that I want to keep mentioning, right? Like, if you covered up the nameplates, I could look at this and be like, yeah, I mean, this could be Stats. You know, everything's going well. His macro's well. He's hitting his build order. He's getting a lot of creep tumors. He's picking off Lings where he can, forcing as many units as he can. Everything looks fine. Can he keep it up looking fine? Can he make those brilliant moves and those great micro moments and the multitasking that is required to try to beat Rogue in the mid game when Rogue hasn't truly been injured?
Ravagers are coming here now.
Scary push.
The push is about to come through. The Hydras have gotten onto the high ground now. Good force fields, but not enough to box anything out. In fact, the Roaches slipped through. Another, I would say, lackluster force field, not really allowing for that much. There's only a limit, there is a limit to how many more force fields Protoss can do, so he really would have wanted to have boxed off a few more units there.
Let's not forget, he doesn't necessarily have to kill Rogue with this. If he just gets some good trades and stuff, he can continue to play a nice macro game.
Oh, he's going to get up on the high ground now.
This is great. Look at that. Yeah, I mean, he continues to play very well.
He needs to keep that Warp Prism alive. If that's Corrosive Bile down, then maybe this rush won't work. Actually, he doesn't have enough Ravagers to Corrosive Bile that down. Even the Phoenix not picking that up. And suddenly, it looks almost like Protoss can win this fight. There's so many drones coming down here, so many more Warp-ins, 3 Immortals out, and the Warp Prism available to juggle those Immortals.
Oh my gosh, the Zealots getting on top of absolutely everything here. A ton of drones have fallen, and the Hydra count's getting very low, so these Immortals starting to get more and more value.
You know, Hurricane a little bit slow with microing those Immortals. You know, they took a lot of damage, but they're all 3 are still alive. Did he actually do it?
Yeah.
Oh!
Sick. I tell you, that is the level of play that people are talking about that we don't get to see in the GSL from Hurricane almost ever. But that was a beautiful game. You know, he nailed the build. He executed everything really well. It was good micro, good decision making. Everything was on point there from Hurricane.
That was really impressive. He got in there. I was worried. Each of those Immortals lost all their shields, over half their HP, and then were picked up. And it looked like, especially when there were roaches coming down from the north, so that basically the army was surrounded, it didn't seem like there was that much room to micro them, but he kept all 3 alive. In the end, he pushed through the next Warping round. Rogue was not able to hold that. Now, Rogue, no doubt, miffed. In fact, miffed is probably an understatement for how he's feeling.
He looks upset
about that game. That's not a strategy he's supposed to lose to. But I got to say, Hurricane executed it nicely. Goes to show you why he's good in practice. Game 2 is ready to go. Hurricane versus Rogue.
Game start. Hurricane. Generic Green Wings. Rogue.
You know, there's this tiny metagame of blocking hatcheries. You send a very quick probe over, just in time to block the hatch. But Rogue is one of the Zergs that quite oftentimes will skip a drone and get the hatchery done in time. Yeah, this time he doesn't do it. Last game it was a 15 hatch, I believe. And this time he tried to get down there, but just barely. They really have this timed out very, very tightly, because it's so annoying to defend. You know, if they make some adepts, they go Oracle and stuff.
Yeah.
The creep gets very late there. I mean, if you get a Protoss, someone like Patience, he's going to throw down a pylon at your natural even and slow you down from ever getting that hatch rip for as long as possible. But just kind of an interesting thing. I always like to watch if the Protoss wants to send it and if the Zerg is going to preemptively counter it by making an earlier hatch. Because then it becomes this mind game. If you know your opponent's going to do that, you stop sending the probe early, and then they're actually like hurting their own economy.
Yeah. By
making it earlier, right? They're skipping a drone.
Well, I gotta say, this is the best possible start for Hurricane.
Yes.
I mean, he won with a timing attack. That's crazy. Against Rogue, the former world champion.
And the next round, if he makes it to it, he'll be playing the winner of Parting and RagnaroK, which, don't underestimate those two, but they aren't Rogue.
Correct.
Rogue is, in my opinion, clearly better than both those players. I think in anyone's opinion, really. Even though RagnaroK, he's a top 16 ladder player at the moment. He's very good. He's in good shape. And Parting, I mean, well, he's Parting. Everyone loves him.
Yeah, I saw him real briefly downstairs as I scrambled to go to the bathroom. Had to get my nerd machete out and cut through a couple of the people down here at the studio to get there in time.
Indeed.
Now we have the Stargate coming, and let's see what kind of tech it's going to be. Oracle's most likely coming in trying to do a little bit of harass. Hurricane showing that he can win with the timing. Of course, best of fives require adjustments and a wide array of play, generally speaking, historically.
Oh, yeah.
To win. I mean, I can't imagine Hurricane
just keep
does
doing the
several
same
more
thing
timing
over and
attacks.
over. Yeah.
He just gets up, he's like, Rogue doesn't know how to play the game, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what you would do against someone who doesn't know how to play, is the same thing over and over that's very robust. And the build he did in the previous game really was. So far, the same opening, but that's oftentimes what you want to do anyways. Now, look at this. He made the Stalker, but is making a Phoenix first. Sometimes you make the Stalker to kind of hide that you're going Stargate.
So what's smart about this, or it will hide anything, I think, is what a Stalker says.
Yes, yes.
Stalker screams liar.
Yeah. Well, now that he sees a Phoenix, it's like, oh, okay. Because, like, you don't really... The Stalker doesn't do a whole lot for you here, and it's more expensive than another Adept.
Right.
Like, you can...
Unless the minerals and gas add up in a different way later on that we haven't calculated.
There's certainly some timing attacks right now that involve a lot of Stalkers, but you wouldn't get it this early. It just... I mean, not that it's bad. It's very good if they do, like, a Baneling bust or something. It's very hard to kill those with Banelings and Lings.
Second Stargate!
Well, that makes a little bit more sense, I guess.
Yeah. I was thinking, yeah, because it's like, well, I mean, a Robo's not that crazy, but second Stargate, but looky.
This is so funny. He hid this Overlord in the back of the base, and Hurricane has no idea, and now he's going to get caught doing a build that's slightly off meta. It's slightly old right now. This is like a build that was really hot a year ago.
And by the way, he just now, I'm looking at Hurricane's camera. He's, watching this uncomfortably as the Overlord sees everything. And, you know, for someone like Rogue, Rogue would be the scariest player on the planet if he had a map hack. If he just saw what you're doing, he's never going to lose a game. And a build like this, it requires you to have a certain level of, like, surprise. And, you know, it's confusing and unorthodox. And this is really tough, man.
Well, he didn't cancel, so kudos to that. It almost becomes obvious that a cancel would occur. So not canceling is a mind game.
Let it finish and not use it, but that's also not what Hurricane's doing. He's going for double Phoenixes out of those two Stargates.
That's another good point. You say that Rogue might be the scariest player with a map hack. I think you might be exactly right about that, but I want to offer up for your judgment a couple other players. What about SOS with a map hack? What would that be like?
No.
No?
No, I think Rogue would be better with it because I think that SOS is... I don't know. SOS, it's not just... I mean, look, he's good at hiding stuff, right? But SOS's strength is really just the randomization of builds. It's not so much that he sees what you're doing and counters it. In fact, a lot of times SOS's builds are so good because he doesn't need to see what you're doing, even if it gets into a weird game. Where it's like, oh, these guys are both doing two builds and they're not really, they don't normally interact with each other. What is this going to look like? He's fine in those situations anyway. So I like what you offered up, but I'm going to go with Rogue.
But you found it lacking.
Yeah.
You found it lacking.
But I want to say in front of all of these people that it is Rogue.
Over Serral as well?
Now that's a good question.
This is what the people want to know, Tasis.
I know. I don't know. Serral would be another great player with the map hack, but I feel like Rogue really...
Yeah. No, I'm pretty with you on this. I think it's a good point. Something I never think about, and I should.
Yeah.
Who would be the best with the map hack?
Well, I mean, you might as well, considering that everybody on BattleNet is a hacker.
Yeah.
Tell you what's going on right now. There's at least 12K hackers watching this right now, Artosis.
No doubt.
All living a lie. How do they sleep at night?
It's Twitch chat hackers.
Yeah.
They think
these Twitch chat GM hackers here.
Yeah. No wonder they all got GM.
Yeah.
Okay, look at this push. 2 Stargate Phoenix into Sentry Stalker push. This is weird.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's a different kind of push, but it's the same idea.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just another time-in push. He's like, if I come in at 7 minutes and 30 seconds, I can also maybe just kill the Zerg.
And this is so interesting. It flies right over. Those spores actually doing so much work for him right now.
Yeah, but he's disabled a lot of these Ravagers. I don't know if the Phoenixes are going to matter that much later on.
He has no follow-up to this, though. He's sitting on 50 probes and not getting upgrades as far as I know.
I don't see a second Immortal marching across the map. In fact, I don't even believe it was made. He actually ended up stunning those drones. I don't know, dude. He might have enough Warpins here.
Does he? 17 drones killed, maybe. No. Look at these spores march forward, too. He's pushing him. Okay. So he killed 20 drones, but I actually think Rogue's ahead here for sure. All the powerful units except for one Prism and one Immortal were knocked out. He wasn't on a super high probe count, so even though he killed drones, he has nothing to battle Ling Hydra. Ling Hydra will now walk across the map and kill him. No, Rogue turns around. Rogue says, I'm going to take a 4th base.
Okay, well, I appreciate what Hurricane tried to do, but now we have a timing attack that, while it did kill drones, it did not kill the Zerg entirely and put us into game 3. So how is Hurricane's mid-game going to be from here?
How do you recover from a situation like this? Okay, I see exactly how. Made another Immortal. He's making sentries. He's just going to do the same push again. He killed a lot of drones, so if he catches his opponent droning, it's definitely a reasonable idea to try, I'd say.
Yeah, he needs this harass to do a little bit more. No shields here.
Maybe you recall that. What if he doesn't let that out?
Well, he needs to do something with it, either get it out or recall it, because the War Prism needs to be with the rest of the rush in order for this to be
very important,
good at all. Now there's more roaches being made with a second Immortal fighting against those roaches. That's one thing the Zerg has. I'm sorry, the Protoss has, but I think there's enough Ravagers that you can knock down force fields, and I think that Adept Stalker is not anywhere near as good against Roach Hydra.
No.
So
the push was pretty scary the first time, I guess, but this doesn't look like something that should work. Not even close. Oh gosh, Bile's landing. Yeah, he should be able to break through this.
Okay, this Protoss is dead. Yep, the War Prism's going to go down. Let's go to game 3.
Okay, it was a weird one, but Hurricane got caught off guard with that Overlord coming in. I wonder if that was an off-the-fly push, the Sentry Stalker one.
Yeah,
not sure. Because it's not a push that you're used to seeing, especially with all those Phoenixes. Like, there's a lot about the push that doesn't make sense. The overall DPS of it is quite low. The overall tankiness of it is quite low.
Yes.
So it's very, very weird push. But I definitely don't fault him for trying that after getting his second Stargate scouted. I think that was totally reasonable the way he played that game.
Yeah, I think you're highlighting something important. It wasn't just that he held off the rush. It said he scouted it so he knew what was coming. Uh-oh, we got the guitar, the bass guitar.
They heard what you said. You were talking trash about the intro music.
That's right.
I'm going to fix that for you now, Tasteless.
Tasteless approves.
I love this shot, by the way.
Yeah, this is specific to the SuperTournament, by the way. Yeah, we kind of model this off of a one-on-one fighting game. Unlike those 5v5 fighting games that are...
StarCraft is a one-on-one fighting game.
Yeah.
Just that we have an economy. It's like your meter in the Street Fighter games.
That's right. And the meter is just passion.
Game start.
And minerals and gas.
And minerals and gas, yeah. And supply.
Yeah.
Hurricane.
Ow, ow.
Generic Green Wings. Rogue.
And now we wait.
Do you think Hurricane's going to go for another timing attack this time around? Or is he going to try to mix it up? Did the music just go?
I think
Did we just lose all music?
I think we're always going to see timing attacks. The question is, how many probes? Really? The song just ran out. It's okay.
Okay, here comes the next song.
Yeah. But, you know, I think that PvZ is so heavily timing attack oriented from Protoss that the way to properly get into a late game is the Zerg properly defending everything and you realizing it and backing off, right? Because you should be keeping pressure on the Zerg at minimum and ready to pounce. But if Zerg blocks it all just correctly, then, you know, maybe you trade a few units here and there, try to get a little bit of damage back up, and continue up the tech tree. But I think basically timing attacks of varying aggression are a stronger way to play than just being like, I'm going to get Psystorm and a lot of Immortals and +2. And not that that is a bad thing to eventually get to. But yeah.
Well, assuming that it will be another timing attack, we don't know what form that timing attack will take, but then it would probably be, the burden would be upon Rogue to try to scout that out. If you can get an idea of what type of timing attack, not just it is going to be a timing attack, but what is the theme of the timing attack, what units are going to come out when, then generally speaking in RTS theory, the defending player can hammer together what they need to hold that off. And that's why that Overlord scout, the one that was hidden behind the main base in Game 2 that then scouted the second Stargate, was so impactful. Laser beams. Laser beams. All right, gets the Ling. No scout there.
Oh, a few more Lings coming in. That's actually going to keep the Overlord alive for a bit. I think he was planning on possibly doing a hallucination to kill the Overlord, and then
he sees the Robo.
Yeah, that's important. But there's several builds you can do with the Robo right now. This looks like it's going to be a 2-base push, Immortal Sentry.
Okay, there's the hallucinated Phoenix to spot for the Overlord, which will then, the Phoenix will then go scout across on the map. Meanwhile, Zerg's continuing to upgrade. A Warp Prism is on the way.
Prism first.
Yeah,
okay.
Prism first instead of Immortal first. So that usually means it'll be a harass into a timing, if it is a timing.
Well, just making a Prism and going across, there are some Prism Stalker builds. I mean, Nogred actually went over it on in-depth, but he only has the one Stalker right now. The thing is, you need 3 to one-shot a Tumor. So, yeah, no, okay, he doesn't go for an Observer, so it should not be that. All right, just going to bring everything he's got.
Now, keep in mind, the earlier the Warp Prism harass is, generally the less terrifying it is as far as what units you're bringing. Had you made an Immortal first and then a Warp Prism, it comes out later, but it's a little bit stronger. So with these flimsy units, it's going to be force fields that is what Hurricane needs to utilize in order to win some of these fights. And so he's going to have a Warp in come in here. And I guess less of a drop and more of an abrupt push here from the south headed towards the third base is what we're going to see here.
Yeah, maybe trap a Queen or something here. You know, he just warped in a few Zealots.
It's still a pretty open area. I find that force field even a little bit questionable there. Okay.
Yeah, this didn't feel that good.
You know, it's harder than it looks sometimes to get those perfect force fields up. Now, that attack is not intended to kill the game. We have 5 gates and Immortals coming behind that. So the ideal, the concept behind what Protoss is trying to do is to get in fights and trade where the Protoss has an advantage. And then behind this, you have an attack, and you know, you're kind of trying to get the Zerg just enough off balance that when the push comes, you knock them over and they can't get back up. And then everything comes through. Now, the backbone of the rush is going to be the Immortals comboed with the Warp Prism to juggle them in and out. You cannot lose the Immortals. You cannot lose the Warp Prism. Losing either one takes the momentum out of the rush, like the wind out of the sails, so to speak.
He's got 3 Immortals, so it's definitely very strong. We need some Ravagers. Okay, he's already got a couple up. Making a couple spines here as well. Rogue realizing this is very, very all-in. Look at this, 39 probes for Hurricane.
Yep, and this is a little bit more crazy than some of the other rushes we've seen here. More about might, less about deception. And here comes that third Immortal. Now the force fields are isolating a good amount of these Roaches from actually having a fight that they need to take. One Immortal shield is activated.
Oh, very scary push. Look at this. Coming up from the flank, though, is Rogue. The Immortal's staying so strong. The Prism is so far away right now. He can't really do any juggling, so if Rogue could break through...
He doesn't really need to juggle to Artosis. This is so much damage that the Zealots are actually making the Roaches run away. I think he's done it again.
It looks that way.
Set your watches, baby. We're in Timing Town.
Well, that was pretty fearful. Like, 39 probes. He had no gases at his natural. The harassment was kind of funky, but
yeah,
having 3 Immortals that quickly, like he really, really focused on that Robo production. And Well, it certainly paid off.
I think those initial force fields, keeping a lot of the roaches back and the queens back, the immortals actually got really good pairings. It's funny because we've seen a lot of games where the warp prism's a little bit too close. In that case, it was way far away. I think part of that rush might be warp ins are actually almost more important than even the immortals being juggled.
We had enough force fields maybe to keep them alive for long enough that you kind of start to break the back of the Zerg, but there weren't even that many Ravagers in the army. It was actually a little bit Ravager light, it felt like to me.
It was Diet Ravager. It was Cherry Ravager Zero, Artosis.
Vanilla.
Ugh, gross. Ugh. Not even with rum is that timing attack good. Or defense. I've got nothing, guys. We're on over hour 4 of the Super Tournament. And we're not done.
It's only day 1.
Only day 1. Game 4, set 3.
Hurricane. Generic Green Wings. Ro.
The small meta continues. Playing the last game, I'm pretty sure that Rogue actually went 15 hatch. And here he is. As soon as he sees the probe, actually makes more drones, knowing that it is pointless. A pylon will go down if he just attacks the probe nonstop.
I can't believe Hurricane is 1 win away from moving on to the round of 8.
Yeah.
Possibly taking out 2017 world champion Rogue.
Rogue needs to gain some points, too.
He needs to gain some late game is what he needs, Artosis.
Well, certainly he wants to get to the late game. His timing attacks can be so tricky to hold off, though.
It really does show why Hurricane is a very valued practice partner. This guy can time and attack you all day. You're going to be very familiar with this type of rush by the before you go into a GSL match.
I think he will keep it up.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's a good way to play for him, but this map is a bit harder, I think, for it because, you know, there's not like multiple flanks that you can come in from. You're basically attacking uphill into their third. So
True.
It might be a map where you really have to play a bit of a longer game.
Perhaps this is one where you want to do the double warp prism as well.
Oh, that's a possibility.
You know,
yeah.
maybe you want to try to fly that in the main.
Yeah.
And then try to push in elsewhere.
I feel like
warping
that's
in the bare minimum in the natural, or I mean, I'm sorry, in the main, and then trying to push the natural with everything else.
I feel like that's one of the ways that Hurricane loses games, though. He's trying to be overly fancy, losing a prism with an Archon, you know, that type of thing. Maybe you just go for a little bit bigger game. You know, get up to 3 bases plus 2 attack. Get the 2 Robo Immortals going.
I don't like it, man.
No.
I think Hurricane needs to scumbag his way to the top.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I'm just trying to think of the correct way to hit a timing on this map. It's hard.
Listen, here's what I want, Artosis. I want only Protosses and a Terran in the round of 8. Okay?
Oh, that would be perfect, actually.
Yeah, and then for some reason, it's just like, I don't know, guys. Protosses in Super Tournament do really well, and we don't understand why.
This looks like the same build from Hurricane.
Pretty mind gaming. Get that hallucinated Phoenix out.
Oh, and look at this Overlord speed on the way right now for Rogue. He is not screwing around. He's like, okay, I get it. You're going to do all-ins to me every game. Well, he's going to scout it this game. Now, obviously, you know, that is not a free upgrade, but I think it's definitely worthwhile.
Oh, it's going to get away.
Oh, he can't let it get away. I told you, Tasteless, hallucinations should do 1 damage per attack.
I know.
It's ridiculous that they don't. They should. Because then you could actually go mass hallucinations. Now, hold on. If you hallucinated High Templars, would they do more damage than regular High Templar attacks if they were doing 1 per attack?
No, what happens is the hallucinated High Templar attack heals whatever it's shooting at.
So, yes, more damage.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Don't forget, though, today was the day that we saw High Templars kill a building.
What?
Yeah, they killed a turret. Against Maru, remember?
Wow. You're saying the High Templars have an attack? I thought we were joking this whole time, Artosis.
Yeah. Oh, this is actually not the same attack. It looks very, very similar.
So
but
he's
the Dark
tricked
Shrine's
us
coming
too.
up.
Yeah, the Dark Shrine does change everything.
But
I don't know if this is. I think this is more just best of 5 tailored than it is map tailored.
Bringing an Adept across the map.
Nice.
Yep.
Yep. How long have you been live for? Let's see here. 9:18, so 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Well, no, 4 hours and 18 minutes.
Sorry. That
Oh
was
my
the meme.
God.
Sorry, it's 4:18. My bad.
Oh, I get it now.
Oh
Oh my gosh, because that's like a famous time.
It is, yeah. Well, the Overlord's going to get chased away, but he does see what the tech is.
Dark Shrine is a very important thing to spot. So he's going to start making spores, but it's not just a Dark Shrine for DTs/Archons. Well, I mean, obviously that is what it's for. It's an Immortal-based push, though, still.
Okay.
Oops.
Good pickup. He does get away. I don't know if he can drop, though. I mean, unload those Adepts. I mean, there's a lot of Lings out on the map. One Immortal is out. Forge is on the way. So maybe he's not going to go for anything too timing-wise. Uh-oh. Deets!
Ooh.
Oh, Archons.
This is really cool because I think it's based off the fact that he got scouted that he throws the Forge down. Now, you have to stay pretty aggressive and keep pressure on, I think, with this type of build. When you go the Dark Templar-based Archons, you don't have access to Psystorm easily, so it's hard to get into a longer game.
War Prism very low on HP,
My
about
God.
half health. And by the way, as we were pointing out earlier, it's now confirmed Hurricane is going to go ahead and just expand here. I mean, we're going to be going into a more standard PBZ this time around.
For now, he is doing that, and I think he will probe up, but I think, like, we just saw Morpin 4 more sentries. That's because he is going to do a massive attack. Like, he is really going to try to kill Rogue relatively soon. So Rogue has a little window here where I think we're going to see him. Oh, my God.
Oh!
See, I told you, that's how this guy dies. It's too fancy.
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh.
This Immortal's in trouble.
Go save that Immortal.
Did you see that?
Yeah, totally. It's good stuff.
That Immortal threw his back out, still being on that force field. He's like, I can't be on this.
Good scouting coming out from Rogue.
Okay, plus one attack is about to finish up Zealot legs. Can Hurricane hold his own in a more orthodox PvZ? I mean, the longer the game goes on, the more expansions are taken on both sides. We're getting closer to what Rogue really is, is defined his career off of, is late game. Hurricane, I feel like I don't even have a strong sense of what his late game's like. I get to cast him so little,
Yeah, that's true, actually. You don't get to see his late game much, but I don't think we're getting to an actual late game scenario with, like, actual late game tech. With the Spire on the way, which is already kind of interesting in and of itself, I think that Rogue has rightly determined that Hurricane is going to start attacking, he's not going to stop. So this is going to come down to Rogue just kind of holding on. It doesn't, like, we see him get, oh, he adds starports. Okay, this is where it changes. Because it really looked up to here, with the amount of sentries he was making, just sitting here chronoing out Immortals. Thought he was going to hit one of these very strong attacks coming in, but the double Stargate tells us otherwise. It's going to counter that Spire.
I'm loving this Warp Prism flying around. I like the moments where he ends up dropping one Archon on the high ground and one on the low because he's trying to get away so fast, but still feels the need to at least unload it.
Yeah, see, he's got plenty of units to hold this off for now.
When Ravagers walk down on the map, you can tell they really do comb their hair back and pomade it.
Oh, I got to watch that next.
Yeah. Just wait for it. We'll see it.
See, I don't even know what that looks like because I don't comb my hair. But
you don't need to, Artosis. You're such a celebrity. You have people comb your hair for you, don't you, you superstar?
Literally true.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the Archons are starting to do a little bit of harass here. I mean, you just kind of take what you can get. As long as you don't lose the Warp Prism and the Archons, you're basically getting everything for free.
Oh my God.
Wow. Oh, those were great force fields. He's going to take out a lot of those roaches, but are there too many? I mean, it's going to be hard to get past this many Immortals. Oh my God, Hurricane is having some of the best force fields. That's where, see, he's pomaded back. See that?
You're right.
Coming straight back.
Looks really good.
But see,
they hang out at the beach, you can tell.
the thing is, I can see the Ravager's bald spot on the top of his head, so I know what's really going on there.
They hang out on the Jersey Shore, I can tell with
Yeah,
the
no
way the
kidding,
hair
man.
spikes back like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I'm just telling you, man, that Ravager's going to buy a Corvette that he can't afford.
What is it? It's Jim Laundry Crosabile. So this game is turning really interesting now that we have Phoenixes and Mutas that have joined the fray. There's no actual splash damage from Protoss, like no High Templar.
No need, my friend.
Well,
You go
say
straight
that
up
until
2012 and just get good force fields and win the fights.
I tell you, when you get enough Hydras, those force fields are not going to do as much as you thought they were going to do.
Okay, well, way to be a Debbie Downer, Artosis, on this new unit composition.
I am...
So maybe he's going to pick up every Hydra in the game and kill everything. What do you think?
Yeah, look that way. I like how he's over there fighting the Hydras with these while the Mutas fly through
He's
their
like, wait a
basic
minute, you have no
probes.
air defense. Look at this. Oh, finally.
And those are stuck in there. Oh, I love StarCraft. There they are. All right, bye, Mutas. You guys are done.
All right. Does Protoss want to push now? Yeah.
Let us out.
He's like, stop rubbing up on me.
Too close, my personal space.
He's going to have a War Prism out there, so he's going to be able to move him around. Unfortunately, that mound of creep over there in the middle of the map will be no more.
That was an important area of creep expansion for Rogue.
Was, yeah, he was
a crucial moment.
He was going to connect the creep highway up there.
It's a scary army. Phoenix is still flying around harassing.
A lot more Lings are coming out here. Looks like Lurkers are eventually going to be part of this game, but not before this Protoss attack happens, Artosis.
I'm scared for him. He doesn't have splash damage, really. Like, with no High Templar here, is he going to be able to get rid of this?
Well, the majority of the Hydras are down here. Oh, not bad with the force fields.
Nice. What a fool I was.
Well,
what a fool I was.
Consider yourself forgiven, Artosis. I think most people would have expected that Rogue would be coming out here and dominating. Instead, it looks like Hurricane may be able to win this game with this push.
I hope he wins this game with
This push. Look at this.
Rogue not
What is
giving up
going
yet. The
It
Roach
looks
is
like these
trading
Roaches
pretty
and
well up at the
Hydras
top.
might be able to drive back this push.
That all-army hockey messing him up.
Oh, that was so sick. Eating a lot of immortal shots.
God. Max out Zerg army. Not able to do it here.
Dude, Hurricane just did it. Maru's out. Hurricane's moving on. This is
Up
not a
is
simulation.
down, left is right, red is green.
That's right. Circle is square and square is circle, Artosis.
Oh my God.
Hurricane did it,
Wow.
and he could barely believe it, and Rogue looks completely stunned.
Wow, congrats to Hurricane. I feel like this is one of his, well, it's certainly the best that we've seen him play in an important match. There's not a question in my mind about that. He played very nicely tonight.
Now he's in the round of 8, and he has a $1 million smile.
This game and game one were both very impressive for me. Like, I think I was kind of dumbfounded the way he was playing this one. It looked like he was going to attack. He wasn't going to attack, but, you know, good decisions in the end of the day. To be able to just rail through that max out Zerg army without any Psy Storm or anything.
Well, let's see how far Hurricane can go. I mean, he's already in the round of 8. It's not that far to the top, you know? You
it's
beat
true.
Rogue, you can basically beat anybody.
A PvP against Parting is doable, and RagnaroK's doable if you beat Rogue.
We're going to go to that match after this short break. Do not go away or else.